Alright class, raise your hand if you've ever used one of these. This is the TI-84 Plus Silver Edition from Texas Instruments, one of the variants of the TI-84 graphing calculator that's been used in educational institutions, certainly here in the US, for the past 20 years or so. In fact, these things still see use today, and they cost over $100 to buy one brand new, despite the fact that TI has far newer offerings for around the same price. And the reasoning for that is something we're not going to get into today, but we're going to be talking about one of the really cool things you could do with these old calculators, and that is run all kinds of games on them. Specifically, we're going to be talking about a Game Boy emulator for these things, and later on in the video, I'm going to show you some other neat stuff I was able to find that's capable of running on these calculators, perhaps some of which you might have even played while you were trying to convince your teacher you were doing math homework in class. But first, let me show you what you have to do to get all this stuff running on here. Alright, so to get this thing connected to your computer, you need to have a mini USB cable, which I've got one of those right here, and we're just going to plug that into the top of the calculator. And you also want to download the TI Connect software from Texas Instruments. It's available for both Windows and Mac. Of course, you see we are running a Windows system today, and we're going to head over to ticalc.org. This is where we're going to get all of the software from. Now, I'd be willing to bet that if you've ever messed around with programming on this calculator or trying to get games on it in the past, you've probably run across this website because it is an extremely useful resource for just all things TI calculators. Of course, we're interested in browsing the software archive, so you want to go up to Archives up here, and then click on File Archives, and then choose the model of calculator that you have. You see they also have some utilities for various operating systems here as well. But we're going to choose TI-83 or 84, actually it doesn't matter because they both go to the same page. You see there at the bottom, the hyperlink is the same. And then we have a few categories to choose from here. Now, most of the games are going to be either in assembly, basic, or flash. And the Game Boy emulator that I mentioned is in flash, so we're going to go in there, we're going to go into games, and you see we just get a whole list here of all these games. And if we scroll all the way down near the bottom, here's TI Boy SE. Now, you can download it just by clicking on this directly, and it will download a copy of the zip file, but I do have the application page pulled up here. And by the way, I'll have all of the links to the applications that I show off in this video down below if you want to go check them out. So here we get a description of it, we get the author's name, we get some screenshots of it running, and we also have some reviews of it as well, which is neat. So yeah, this app is pretty old. You see the first review here is from 2009, I think that's around the time it was first released. This particular version was uploaded in 2014, February 15th, 2014 to be specific. Now, there is a newer version of this emulator called TI Boy CE, but this is for the TI-84 Plus CE graphing calculator, which is, the one that has like a color screen. It's far more advanced. It also runs on the TI-83 Premium CE. So, this is not going to work on these older calculators, but if you happen to have one of these newer ones, definitely check this one out because this emulator is far more capable than the one we're going to be exploring today, but this one is still pretty neat for what it does. Another way to find games and applications on this site is just by searching for them. So they have a search function here. We could type in, I don't know, Portal, because that's totally not foreshadowing, right? And here we have Portal Prelude. This is something we, yes, will be exploring later on in this video because it's super freaking awesome. But before I get ahead of myself, let's talk about how you actually get a Game Boy game running on this thing. Alright, I know I just got done talking about TI Calc and how great it is, and don't get me wrong, it is a great resource for, everything TI calculator related. However, I did discover that TI Boy SE actually has technically a newer version over on GitHub, and it's now open source as of 2020. So the version on TI Calc is 0.2.04, and the version here on GitHub is 0.2.05. However, there haven't been any features added to the emulator itself in this version. From what it sounds like, this was pretty much done to just open source the project and make some updates to the app creator tool, which I'll show you guys in a minute. Now, the version I used in this video is the one from TI Calc because I kinda realized this thing was on GitHub after the fact, but I did download the version from here and compared it to 0.2.04, and sure enough, the performance was identical. There wasn't any change in the CPU emulation speed that I could notice, and that's another thing. This emulator is not able to emulate a Game Boy's CPU and, hardware at full speed, at least with the games that I've tried on it, and I'm sure you probably guessed that this is not going to be like the most ideal way to emulate a Game Boy game, but that just fits in line with the kind of stuff that we do on this channel anyways. So what I'm trying to say is you could really download either one of these versions, and I'll just have them both down below. So when you download TI Boy, you're going to get a set of files that looks like this, minus the Tetris and Pokemon Blue ROMs. But you will have this ROM for what is essentially like a Tetris clone, as well as this 8xk file. Now this is one of the file types that you can copy over to the calculator using the TI Connect application. And what you're supposed to do with this executable down here is give it the name of a ROM. So I'll just type in tetris.gb. And then it'll say successfully opened, enter a name for the app. So we'll just call this Tetris as well. And it will create an 8xk file for that Tetris ROM, and you have to do that for each individual ROM that you want to be able to play on the calculator. There's also a README file in here. I would definitely recommend reading through this, really for any application you get from that TI Calc site. Some of them will not have READMEs, but most of the ones that I've downloaded do. And it just, gives you useful information. It usually tells you how you're supposed to copy it over, if you have to do anything beforehand. In this case, they've got controls here, how the buttons on the calculator map to the Game Boy controls. And you got like some frequently asked questions too. So it's definitely useful to read through this stuff. But yeah, that's how you create these files out of the TI Boy executable. Now we're going to open up the TI Connect software and click on Send to TI Device. And you'll want to make sure your calculator is on and plugged into your computer. And then you just click on Select Device up here. You see it's recognize it. There it is, TI-84 Plus Silver Edition. So we'll select that. Now I've already done this with Tetris and Pokemon. So I'm actually just going to grab this other one here, this like Tetris clone, because I've not actually played this yet. And we'll click on Send to Device. And there it is transferring. Now, if you saw in the left column there, it said that it was going to copy it to the archive. Now, the archive is the flash ROM, but you can also copy things over to RAM. In fact, some applications require to be run from RAM. They won't work trying to run from the archive. An example of that is this Mario Party game that I downloaded. This you can see here, we have a ton of files that need to be copied over at the same time because this is a more complex game. And there's also a README as well that is useful obviously to read through. But if we go to Send to TI Device, you would just drag all of these files over to here, and you see it just auto populates everything as RAM, and you would want to keep it that way for this application. Now obviously RAM is temporary storage, but from what I've seen, the calculator actually holds on to what is in RAM even after powering it off. But there is a way to clear the RAM from the calculator, which you'll have to do if it gets too filled up. You can also, if we go out of here, we can go into the TI Device Explorer, and this is a great way to just see what files you have on your calculator. You can delete stuff from here. You can also do that from the calculator as well, but it's just nice to do it from a computer. So if we go into applications, you see I've got that one we just copied over. This is the Pokemon ROM. We have Portal as well as Tetris. And then under Protected Program, this is everything we just copied over from that Mario Party folder. One other quick thing that's worth noting is some of these games that you can get from the TI Calc website do require a shell that you put on the calculator and run first before you're able to run the game. If you saw LGR's video where he ran Doom on one of these TI calculators, that was one of those games. And all that information is available on TI Calc. You can go and see what games require what shell, but none of these that I've copied over here require that, so they can just be run directly from the regular interface. So let's go ahead and swap over to the calculator, and we'll try out some of these games. So if you hit the apps button, that'll bring up your list of applications, and we're going to start out with this Adjustris. I've never played this before, so I'm kind of curious. Not enough RAM, look at that. Okay, so here's a perfect example of why you can't have a lot of things stored in RAM. Because applications that are in ROM or in archive that make use of RAM won't be able to. So I'm probably going to have to go and delete that Mario Party game from here. But yeah, let's just try, Pokemon here. It's going to probably, yep. Alright, well we can just quickly clear RAM here, so we'll just do that. And now if we go back into apps and we'll select 2, and you see we don't get that error message, which is great. So yeah, in terms of button mapping, so this is A, this is B, this is start, this is select, and the arrow keys over here are mapped to the D-pad, you know, which makes sense. So we'll start here, and yeah, this is just basically Tetris, just it looks a little bit different. Now, you may be able to notice it does look a little bit jittery, just the way that it's showing up here on the calculator display. And you also might be able to see that we don't see the entire game. You see we got like a line down there chopped off. And that's just the way that this shows up when you're at its default view anyways on the calculator. So one thing you can do to fix that is to actually zoom in. So you can press the plus button down here and you'll slowly zoom in. And when you get to right here, you see all that jitteriness goes away. Of course, now we can't actually see the entire screen, but you can use the 8, 4, 6, and 2 buttons to like scroll around. So yeah, you can do that. There's also a button to map the camera of sorts to whatever the current sprite is that's on the screen. I believe that is, yeah, it's the decimal point. So you do that and you see like now I'm not, you know, touching the calculator at all, and it's just automatically setting itself to the most recent sprite that came in. So we'll start a new game, and if we hit the decimal point, it will just, you know, map it to this, and we can, you know, just perpetually hold down the down arrow key, and you see it just automatically changes its view to each new sprite that comes in. So yeah, it's not an ideal way to play Game Boy games, and I think that goes without saying, but it's still pretty cool for what it is. Believe it or not, this does support sound playback as well. So it's not going to sound as good as it does on the original Game Boy, that's for sure. But yeah, so that's one of those games. We'll quit out here, so we'll hit the on button, and that will, you know, turn the power off to the Game Boy, so to speak, and then take us back here. We'll go into apps again, and I would show you Tetris, but we basically just took a look at Tetris. Let's go into Pokemon. Now, playing Pokemon on here is not ideal at all, because this emulator does not have a save function. So, you know, you're not going to be able to save your progress at all, and you're just going to constantly be, every time you start the game, have to go through the, you know, character creation screen and all of that. So I'm not really going to go through this entire, like, name creation thing and you know, go through this whole process, because, you know, it's just going to be wiped as soon as I turn off the calculator and turn it back on. So yeah, playing a game like Pokemon where you have to save frequently does not make sense for this emulator, but a game like Tetris where it's not required, I mean, yeah, it's nice to be able to keep track of your high score, but you can totally just play Tetris without saving. That works, you know, pretty decently on here. I mean, sure, it's not perfect, sure you have to deal with this kind of graininess and the fact that you can't see, like, all of the contents of the screen at once, but, you know, I think it works well enough. Now, if this was all you had and you wanted to, like, really play Tetris, I mean, well, hey, it's better than nothing, right? But you also had a whole bunch of other software that you could choose from to run on this thing, and we're going to check out some of that here. So we'll go back into apps here, and I want to show you what is easily my favorite game out of all the ones that I'm going to talk about today, and that is Portal, or Portal Prelude as it's called. So this is named after that mod that, you know, I'm sure we've all played if you've were really into Portal like I am. And this is just really clever. The way this is done, I think it's super cool. We're just going to go to play here, and actually clear is the, like, select button. Or no, it's not. That's the quit out. Let's try that again. I think it's the second button here. Yeah. So we'll say level 1. And you see there's like a lot of animation. You got some text that comes up here. Hey there, I'm Alex. You might be feeling a bit dizzy, but that'll pass shortly. So yeah, the whole kind of lore is this takes place before GLaDOS took over Aperture Science. So you're actually like having humans watching you. But yeah, so you move around and you jump with the arrow keys here. and then you use the numpad to shoot portals in various directions. So let me just get this all on camera here at once. So 6 will shoot it to the right, 9 will shoot it like diagonally, 8 above you, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's just how you navigate around these puzzles and, you know, advance through the game. So we'll place a portal there, we'll place one here. Let me back up a little bit. Place one up there, and one right there, jump through, and there we go, we're done with that level. I could see myself, like, if I had this on my calculator, like in math class, I would probably just play this for the entirety of that period. Because, yeah, Portal was, I mean, I still really love the game, but I got really into Portal, like, back when it first came out, or certainly around the time Portal 2 came out. But yeah, so this here, these little lines on the bottom are meant to denote that these are non-portable surfaces. So you see I can't portal there, but I can portal up there, and we'll portal to the side, and then portal right across and behind me. And, oh, see, I gotta do that again. Oh, and this is the momentum level. So we're gonna portal, like, right up there, and we're gonna portal just down below me. And we'll just jump into there, and we'll shoot across the side. There we go. So they even have that implemented in here, which is super cool. Like, this is just really impressive. Like, when I saw this, I was like, this is really amazing for a calculator game. Yeah, see, what we have to do is place a portal up there, place one down here, fall through. Yeah, that's what we have to do. The problem is, you know, it's just, in terms of placing portals, it switches between them. You know, each time that you place it, it's not like you can control which one that you're placing like you can in the regular game, which is, you know, an understandable limitation. There's also not really a clear way to denote which one is which. So if we do that, and there we go. That's exactly what we want to do. So now we're on to the next level. So yeah, I mean, this is, I just love this game on here. It's super cool. Like I said, it's my favorite one out of all these. So yeah, we'll get out of that, and we'll do that by hitting clear here. And then we'll go to exit, have it save the game for us. I was going to hit enter, but it is second up here. And now I'm going to go ahead and copy over that Mario Party game to the RAM, and we'll take a look at that. I know I just got done raving about that Portal game for maybe a little bit too long, but this Mario Party one is still very impressive. I don't want to discount that at all. And so is the, you know, Game Boy emulator, obviously. So this one, you've got, you know, this was that one that had like a few different files to copy over. So you run it by doing option 6 here, which is M Party, and we'll run that program. This you access from the program menu instead of the apps menu. And so you get the authors' names there. They present Mario Party. So we got, let's see here, play, high score, trophies, and quit. I've not played a whole lot of this. I just went in like off camera briefly just to verify that the game ran. But yeah, so it's, you know, it's just impressive, like, to say you're playing Mario Party on your calculator. But yeah, we're gonna hit enter here to roll, and we get a 12. Okay, so we move around the board. And, okay, so we get Bowser telling us to give us coins that we don't have, and we get a trophy. Okay, that's cool. And I think that, like, this was meant to be played by 4 people. So you see, like, that was player 1. Now this is player 2. So I'm gonna hit enter to roll again. Or wait, no. Interesting. Okay, is this just one player, I guess? I guess you're just rolling. Yeah, because that just moved the same person. I was thinking like maybe this was a 4-player or like 2-player thing. But no, I think this is a single-player Mario Party, so you really take the party out of Mario there. But you do have these mini games. Okay, so we rolled 3 times. Now we get to a mini game, Tug of War, and it doesn't really tell us what we're supposed to do. So we would have to look at the README file, I guess. We lost 100 coins that we did not have, but we got a trophy and we got owned. Let me look at the README here. This is why it's important to read this stuff. Okay, so on that one, we were supposed to press the second button rapidly to pull the rope closer to us. So now we're on whatever turn this is. This is the remaining amount of turns, I believe. Okay, so this one, apparently we can't lose coins, but we have to just use the arrow keys to erase as much of this photo as we can within the amount of time. So yeah, this is, wow, it's also just the way that I'm looking at this. I'm looking at it through a monitor. Then I'm not looking directly at the calculator, so it's even smaller than it already is. And yeah, that second timer was not, that was really like those were not seconds, those were like faster than seconds. But all right, now we're on the next turn. So we have 11 turns left. We rolled an 8. So we get over here and we're playing Tug of War again. Okay, so let's actually press the second button. So yeah, it's just literally button mashing. And we got 22 coins and we got a trophy and Bowser got served. So turn number 10. Yeah, these turns do go a lot faster when you're the only person playing. So Tug of War again. So it just randomly chooses these, and that might even be the same game in a row. Okay, so this one is very similar to an actual minigame in Mario Party. In fact, all of these might be. But this one, Shy Guy's going to hold up a flag, and you have to match what the flag says. So they're all just the arrow keys here. So down, up, left, down, right. And yeah, so you see that the time like really seems to, oh, I just lost. Okay. All right, final turn. Let's see if we get a mini game that we've not explored yet. Okay, we land on a Bowser space, so we lose. Do we lose all our coins? We do. Oh no, we go back to 10. Okay. Game over. Oh, I guess we don't do a mini game after. Huh. And apparently they were working on Mario Party 2 at this point. It was going to be on ticalc.org with new mini games, interactive board, and full trophy support. But I do want to go back in here, and you should be able just to start the mini games from here. So Bowser's Big Blast. This one is similar. It's like exactly the same as that chance game in Mario Party where you have to like pick a rope and hope it doesn't blow you up. There's like I think there's an iteration of this in like every Mario Party game. It's pure chance. But this one, so you pick a button here with these buttons right below the screen. So we'll say this one. And you can either hit done or you can hit second to risk it. And the more you risk it, the more coins you may be able to get, or you might end up blowing up and losing all of them, or just, I guess, getting nothing. So we'll do this one here, risk it, so we're safe. We'll do this one here. Okay, so 2 left. Let's do that one. Oh, that was the one. So we blow up and we lost 30 coins in that case. So you could just play it safe by doing one and then leaving immediately, but if you want to get more coins, then you would risk it more. So yeah, that's kind of neat. So we'll go back into program here, or not that, I had the second button selected. Let's clear out of that. Go to program, minigame 2. This is memory match. Okay, so perfect. These are the only 2 that we've not done. So memory match is just a memory game. So you go around and you select that tile there. So that's wrong. Let's see, maybe here. It also, like, again, that second counter is really fast. Like the way that it's, so I mean, it doesn't really have, don't really have a lot of time to do that at all. So we lost 100 coins. Holy cow. Of course, we're not. Oh, and look at that. We went into like the graphing mode here. That's funny. That just really scratches the surface of the amount of stuff you can run on these calculators. It's really cool, the amount of games and applications that have been developed for it, the community around these things even today. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, maybe consider becoming a patron or a channel member to get early access to these videos before anybody else. But either way, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.